Hey everybody, I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing day wherever you are on planet Earth whenever you watch this. I'm hopping on here today to do an impromptu live to talk about the topic of fatigue. Fatigue is a common chronic health issue that comes up a lot in my client work, and fatigue is something that I think this time of year, especially around the holiday season, really creeps up on people. So I want to talk with you today about fatigue. What is fatigue? What causes it? There are actually some different types that we'll dive into briefly, and then what are some tips and things you can actually do and implement if you are experiencing fatigue, no matter where you are and whatever time of year it is. Now, what's important that you understand first is that when it comes to talking about root causes, something I'm an expert at, there are actually over 8 different categories of root causes of chronic health issues, and only one of those is physical. And when I say physical, I mean things like pathogens and toxins that are in the body that are manifesting and creating a physical health symptom or emotional health symptom or mental health symptom on the surface. Now, when it comes to any type of issue, whether it's fatigue, whether it's low energy, whether it's inflammation, whether it's feeling out of balance in any way, physically, mentally, or emotionally, there do have to be some physical root causes going on to create the manifestation of any type of those symptoms. Now, what does that mean? It means that there must be 2 things present in the body for any type of chronic health issue to be occurring. And number 1, that would be a pathogen such as a virus or a bacteria. Number 2, that would be a toxin such as a toxic heavy metal, radiation, some type of food or fuel source for the pathogens, right? Because toxins feed pathogens, and it's when toxins and pathogens then interact in the body that health issues start to happen. And so I just want to explain that to you as we start to head into what are the different types of fatigue and what's really behind the scenes and causing them. Now, of course, today I'm going to explain the physical things that are behind the scenes causing fatigue and other things that I've seen in my practice that may also be going on if you are someone out there experiencing any kind of fatigue. So when we're having fatigue, what does that mean? Well, we have that feeling of chronic low energy, of just not having the energy and the vibrancy that we want in our lives. We don't feel as awake, we don't feel as rested, and that can be something that just happens, once in a while, or it can last and become chronic. So what happens is there are actually a couple different types of fatigue I want to talk with you about today: tiredness, adrenal fatigue, and neurological fatigue. So you could be having any one of these types of fatigue: tiredness, adrenal fatigue, or neurological fatigue, or you could actually be experiencing them simultaneously. However, what happens in mainstream medicine is that the tendency is to diagnose the issue as a strictly adrenal fatigue issue, when that is a very common mistake that is made by traditional and mainstream practitioners. So today I just want to break down for you what are the difference between tiredness, adrenal fatigue, and neurological fatigue, so you understand the primary root causes that are physical behind all 3 of those different types of fatigue. And then I'm going to give you some tips on what to avoid if you're experiencing fatigue and what you could start to bring into your life to help improve and heal fatigue if you are experiencing it now or at any time in the future. So let's talk about tiredness. Tiredness is exactly like what it sounds, a feeling of just generally being tired. But what is actually causing tiredness is a chronic low-grade viral infection that is straining the immune system and organs while draining your energy levels. So that's what's going on behind the scenes if you are experiencing tiredness. Now, what about adrenal fatigue? There are actually 4 different root causes of adrenal fatigue. Things that can be causing adrenal fatigue are, number 1, being stuck in a state of chronic fight or flight syndrome. Now, what that means is that your body is stuck in an overactive sympathetic nervous system. So your sympathetic nervous system is that fight or flight response. Your parasympathetic nervous system is the other branch of the autonomic nervous system, which is made up of the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches. The parasympathetic nervous system is the branch of the nervous system that calms you down, that grounds you, that brings you back to rest and restoration. However, when we're undergoing chronic stress, typically in our lives, or you feel a lot of anxiety, or there's just a lot going on, and you're spending too much time in fight or flight mode, then that means that your sympathetic nervous system is in overdrive. When that's happening, your sympathetic nervous system will start to overproduce glucocorticosteroids such as adrenaline. And when that happens, that overproduction of adrenaline can create adrenaline that is actually toxic and corrosive and becomes a food or fuel source for the pathogens that are behind the scenes creating the health issues that you're experiencing, like fatigue. So back to adrenal fatigue, the 4 causes can be being stuck in chronic fight or flight mode, being on a high fat, high protein diet for too long, going for long periods of time without eating any food, or number 4, it could be a chronic low grade viral infection. Typically, that will be due to an infection of one of over 60 different varieties of the Epstein-Barr virus. So those are the 4 different possible causes of adrenal fatigue. Again, being stuck in chronic fight or flight mode, being on a high fat, high protein diet for too long, going for long periods of time without eating, or having a chronic low grade viral infection. Typically that's going to be due to the Epstein-Barr virus. So now we've reviewed, tiredness and adrenal fatigue, but there's also something called neurological fatigue. Now, fatigue is a common symptom, right? Something everyone experiences from time to time, but it can actually occur at different stages of the Epstein-Barr virus. So the Epstein-Barr virus is a very common pathogen that is behind why a lot of us are experiencing health issues. And yes, like someone just mentioned here, a lot of my practice, the physical side of my practice, is coming from Anthony William, the medical medium. So if you are familiar with him, that is the source or the textbook sources that are being used to cite this information. So the physical part of my practice, to any of you who don't know me yet, or who are getting to know me, or know me but still don't quite get what exactly I do inside of my practice, what I do is I focus on healing across all levels, layers, and dimensions. Physical health, emotional, energetic, spiritual, environmental, social. So the physical part of the health and healing equation that I focus on is coming from the medical medium and Anthony Williams. So when I am identifying root causes at the physical health level, those are going to be toxins and pathogens. So let's just get back to talking about fatigue. So let's talk about neurological fatigue, right? We talked about tiredness, and we talked about adrenal fatigue and what are the 4 different things that could be behind adrenal fatigue. But like I mentioned, doctors, practitioners in the mainstream arena tend to overblame adrenal fatigue and use it as the culprit or explanation for why people are experiencing fatigue. But that tends to be an overdiagnosis. Adrenal fatigue can actually be going on at the same time as neurological fatigue, since adrenal fatigue is affecting the endocrine system while neurological fatigue is affecting the nervous system. But what's going on with neurological fatigue is something different, right? So remember I explained at the beginning of the video that to have any physical, mental, or emotional health symptom in the body, there have to be toxins and pathogens interacting with one another, right? Well, Epstein-Barr virus, like I mentioned, is one of the pathogens that is behind very commonly a lot of chronic health conditions that people are experiencing. Epstein-Barr virus is interesting in that it actually evolves through 4 different stages inside of the human body. So you can be experiencing fatigue when Epstein-Barr virus is in your body and it's early on in stage 2. In stage 2, you might experience something that's very well known, an infection called mono or mononucleosis. But what's happening at stage 2 with the Epstein-Barr virus is that it's starting to make a home in different organs inside of your body, okay? And at that point, early on during the mono phase of the Epstein-Barr virus, fatigue can result because the Epstein-Barr virus is compromising your immune system. Your immune system is now putting its energy into fighting your first active present viral and blood infection, which is mono, right? So you can experience fatigue at that stage. But once Epstein-Barr virus has made a home inside of your organs during that stage, which is stage 2 of 4, then you can have neurological fatigue because the virus is going to start releasing something called neurotoxins. So what does that mean? Well, neurotoxins are a byproduct of the interaction between Epstein-Barr virus or any virus or pathogen and whatever it's eating or feeding on, okay? So just like humans, right, we eat to stay alive. And when we eat, we have to eliminate the waste or byproducts of what we eat, right? Viruses and pathogens have to do the same exact thing, except they do it inside of our bodies. So when the Epstein-Barr virus is in our bodies hanging out and it's feeding off of things like toxic heavy metals, a very common toxin that's inside of a majority of human beings, I would say 100% of us. Or it could be feeding off of food that we're putting in our bodies that it also likes to eat. But either way, once the Epstein-Barr virus starts to eat and feed off of whatever its food and fuel source is, then it's going to eliminate. And when it eliminates, that waste product is a byproduct called a neurotoxin. And unfortunately, those neurotoxins also wreak havoc and create a lot of damage and destruction inside the human body. So like someone here mentioned, they're sure they've been in stage 4 for decades. And that can, depending on where you're at with your health and your healing journey, at this stage and phase of your life, you could be exactly right. If you're experiencing something like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, or you have some more advanced diagnoses, then it is likely at that point that the Epstein-Barr virus has been in stage 4 inside of your body for quite some time. That's also a good indication of the length and the amount of healing work that there is for you to do on your journey, right? Because the longer we've gone with giving the opportunity for a pathogen like the Epstein-Barr virus to reproduce and develop inside of our bodies, then the more work that we have to do to reverse and heal all of the damage that's been done. But when it comes to neurological fatigue, something different is going on in the body compared with what I described for adrenal fatigue, okay? So when it comes to neurological fatigue, what's going on is that the virus has been feeding off of some of its favorite food and fuel sources. It could be foods you're giving you, which you're putting in your body and feeding it with, which I will go over, or it could be toxic heavy metals and other toxins that are already stuck inside the body. But what's happening is that with neurological fatigue, viral neurotoxins are all over your system. They're like flooding your system. And what they're doing is, because the Epstein-Barr virus has been interacting and going to town, basically having a feast inside of your body, now it's eliminating a lot of viral neurotoxins. A lot of viral neurotoxins floating around in the body start to create damage. And what those viral neurotoxins are doing is creating undetectable brain inflammation. Another phrase or term for that is viral encephalitis. Sounds like a bigger, scarier phrase to me from a practitioner standpoint, but all it is undetectable mild brain inflammation. And that mild brain inflammation that's being created by the neurotoxins in your body, that brain inflammation then creates irritated, sensitive, and like lethargic, almost lazy nerves all throughout the body. And then you get fatigue. Then you get tiredness. Then you get a lack of energy. And one of the other factors behind this is going to be something called a sluggish liver. A sluggish liver gets burdened over the years by a lot of things, by storing pathogens to protect us and our immune systems, by a high-fat, high-protein diet, by stress, by other toxins such as toxic heavy metals. There are a lot of things, including just living a human life, that burden the liver. But having a sluggish liver will also lead to that type of neurological fatigue. So see how even at the physical health level, there can be a lot of different factors that could be contributing to what's really going on inside of the body, what's really manifesting the physical or emotional symptoms that we're experiencing. So there are, like I said, 3 different types of fatigue. They could be going on simultaneously in the body. So what can you do about it? A couple of things. First, definitely remove from the body things that you're eating that could be feeding and fueling the viruses and the pathogens that can then create those neurotoxins that is leading to the neurological fatigue you're experiencing. It's really important to keep those foods out of the body. So what are they? And if you are a fan of Anthony William or the medical medium, you've already likely heard this before, but eggs, dairy, gluten, canola oil, artificial and natural flavors, pork. These are some of the things, corn and soy. These are some of the big troublemakers or foods that are going to feed and fuel the viral pathogens inside of your body. And when you give them food to eat, they will be able to produce those viral neurotoxins that then lead to fatigue. So eliminating those foods from your diet, not just for a temporary period of time, but permanently, is going to be one way to over time heal your fatigue. I personally do not eat any of those things because I choose not to put anything in my body that can feed and fuel pathogens that can manifest and lead to any type of chronic health issue. So that's going to be one thing you can do to help keep those things healing and help keep the pathogens from continuing to feed in the body. And then number 2, those things are also going to help improve your sluggish liver, but other things you can do are drink a lot of lemon water, bring in fresh juices, in particular celery juice and cucumber juice, not together, but separately, are going to help heal. They're going to help remove and kill off pathogens in the body. Cucumber juice is really great at helping to flush and detox the body, so it will help to pull toxins and pathogens out. Lemon water is one of the best things that you can put into the body to help flush the body, to help get toxins out, to help flush out neurotoxins and pathogens and anything that doesn't belong in the body. Those things are also going to not only avoid feeding the pathogens that can create fatigue, but they're also going to help heal the liver so that it won't be as sluggish, because we need it functioning optimally for you to be able to heal optimally. Another tip is to check your stress, because remember I said that spending too much time in fight or flight mode can lead to adrenal fatigue. But chronic stress can also weaken and impair the immune system, because chronic stress disrupts the functional interaction between your nervous system and your immune system, both of which we need well balanced, connected, and functioning optimally in order for you to heal from fatigue or anything that you are currently dealing with. So evaluate, take a step back, take a deep breath, look around you. What's the stress level like in your life? How do you manage that stress or not manage it? There are healthy ways and unhealthy ways to deal with stress, but if you are not dealing with it in a healthy way, then it will become a problem that leads to more chronic health issues. Stress is something else I am an expert at and something I'm very passionate about. Women in particular are extremely vulnerable to the negative effects and potential consequences of stress. So something else to pay attention to. So watching your stress level, examine it, manage it, find healthy ways and strategies. This is something I help my clients with all of the time, especially around the holidays, right? Nurture yourself, care for yourself, put yourself first, because you can only serve from the overflow. And if you're constantly running on fumes and putting everybody else in front of you, then you're never going to catch up and be able to actually heal yourself, because you're constantly going to be running, like I said, on fumes. And when you're running on half empty and when you're running on fumes, you're going to continue to contribute to health problems like fatigue rather than heal them. So watching that stress, remove those things that feed and fuel viruses from your health and your life, because when you remove those things, they will stop feeding the viral pathogens in your body that are manifesting the symptoms like fatigue that you do not want to be living with daily. Your energy will also improve over time. So watching that stress, managing it, finding healthy ways to manage it, evaluating your diet, your nutrition, your nourishment. What does it look like? Remove the things from your diet and your nutrition that are feeding and fueling those health issues. Take a look at your life around you. Are you exposing yourself to toxins unnecessarily? What does your self-care, what is your home care? What do those products look like that you use? Are there pathogens, are there toxins or toxic chemicals in those products that you could be exposing yourself to that will only hold your health back further? Are there relationships in your life that are creating stress, that are putting strain on you, that are unhealthy? Those things contribute to fatigue, to tiredness, to you being able to live in a constant state of feeling like you're in a balanced, optimal, healthy place and space in your life, right? And then thinking about that liver, how can you take care of it, right? We need the functional interaction between your nervous system and your immune system to be optimally connected, and we need those two systems functioning optimally. And then if you take a step back in all of these things, you feel like, I'm doing all the right things, I'm doing everything I need to do, but something's still off. I still don't have the energy I want or need. I still feel fatigued. I still feel tired. Then this could be indicating an energetic problem, something else I help my clients with, right? Because there are energetic, as we've highlighted today, there can be physical root causes like toxins and pathogens contributing to whatever health issues you're experiencing. There could be emotional health. There could be emotional causes. There could be social causes. So there could be a relationship that's partly contributing to why you're stuck standing still. There could be stress in your life. Stress could be one of the root causes. There could be an energetic problem. There could be an energetic root cause to your fatigue. There could be multiple root causes, because I have to tell you all, I've found in my work with my clients over the years that in 100% of cases, there are multiple root causes contributing to any single one physical, mental, or emotional chronic health issue that you are experiencing. So you may have identified that, yeah, I know I've got some Epstein-Barr virus interacting with toxic heavy metals. My liver's a little sluggish. I need to clean up my diet. But you might do all of those things and something still might feel like it's off. And again, there's an indication that it could be an energetic problem, something spiritual, something emotional, something social. So there are all kinds of things that could be at play here. And when we talk about all of those different root cause categories, it could be a current life trauma that's still going on, that hasn't been resolved or healed. It could be a past life trauma that hasn't been resolved or healed. There could be an energetic entity stuck in your energetic field, in your body, around you, that's creating a barrier and not allowing you to move forward on your healing journey. So there's so many factors at play, and it's important to be evaluating all of them and taking a step back, looking at your life, reviewing the things we've talked about today and thinking, where is something off balance? Is it my diet? Am I still eating some things that could be feeding the pathogens in my body? Is it that I've cleaned up my diet, but my liver's still sluggish because I know I've had a past of a high fat, high protein, unhealthy diet, and I've got a lot of cleansing and detoxing and just additional healing work that needs to be done at that physical level and layer? Or is it that I had a lot of stress, anxiety, and emotional stuff going on in my life that I realize I'm not healing, that I'm not managing the best way that I could, and I really need some strategies to do that? Is it that I don't have the support I need? I really walk this journey and this path alone, and I could use support from an unconditional, devoted source that is going to walk alongside me as I walk this path to heal myself. Or does it just seem like something just isn't right, even though I'm hearing all of these things Dr. Elizabeth's talking about, but I feel like I'm doing all the right stuff? So evaluate your life. And today, finally, I'll leave you with just a couple of tips, tangible takeaways of things that you can implement, supplements and healing foods and teas, things like that. So if you are experiencing fatigue, we were talking about it in this chat today, lemon water, starting your day off with lemon water and drinking lemon water throughout the day is going to be very helpful and healing, not just for fatigue, but for all health issues. If you drink fresh juice, even if you do not, celery juice, drinking up to 32 ounces daily is going to work wonders at your long-term healing. One of my favorite supplements, especially for fatigue, is lemon balm. I love the company Vimergy. Lemon balm has a natural soothing capacity and healing capacity. It will help heal the nervous system, calm and soothe the nerves, and will start to reduce and bring down inflammation, especially if there's any mild brain inflammation contributing to your fatigue. Ginger, turmeric, licorice root, spirulina, these are going to be some other great defenses for your healing arsenal if you are dealing with fatigue. Boosting that immune system is going to be very important, so making sure you're getting around 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C every single day. Zinc, a liquid zinc sulfate, and B12 are going to be very important vitamins, keeping that immune system boosted and strong. Chaga is going to be something else I recommend. I actually have mine right here because I'm drinking chaga tea, so you can bring in some chaga. I drink what's called chicory root, so I can show it to you. Fresh chicory, I just put a couple spoonfuls of this in warm water with some chaga and raw honey. Raw honey is also very helpful in healing for fatigue, at least 1 tablespoon a day. I put it in some warm water, and I have this very healing, whether you're dealing with neurological fatigue, adrenal fatigue, or general tiredness. So these are going to be some really helpful healing tips and tricks for you. I hope today you've learned a helpful explanation as to what may be behind your fatigue if you're experiencing it, and understanding of the fact that there are different types of fatigue, and adrenal fatigue is not necessarily the cause of your fatigue, but may be one of them, and understanding that those 3 different types of fatigue, tiredness, adrenal, and neurological, can happen simultaneously. So today you've learned what types of fatigue there are, the 3 different kinds, what may be causing them, what to do about it, the fact that they all can be happening simultaneously, and we've also talked through some tips and tricks around what to avoid, what to do to help yourself heal in the near term, right now, today, and in the long term from your fatigue, and also to realize that there are things beyond your physical level and layer of healing that can be contributing to and causing your persistent and consistent fatigue if that is something that you are dealing with. So looking at your stress, how are you managing it? Is it a healthy, are you using and implementing healthy strategies? What can you release and let go of? What changes and shifts can you make in your environment and your life to make sure that not only are you prioritizing your self-care first and foremost, but that you are setting up your life around you for it to be as healing as possible. So I hope that all of these tips are helpful. I hope you've learned a lot today. If you have any questions now or in the future, please drop them here in the comments. I will always come back to respond. And this is just an example of one. Fatigue is just one of the types of conditions or issues that I support my clients around. So if you are dealing out there with any type of chronic physical, mental, or emotional health issue, you're stuck, you're not happy with the place you're in with your health, or you simply just know that a deeper, more truer, genuine level of health and healing is available to you, then I'm so glad you're here. This is always going to be a space and place for you to receive unconditional devoted support, get honest and truthful tips and tricks, and a perspective that's very unique in that I serve as the bridge between science and spirit. So I will be bringing in information from traditional Western medicine and science and research, from Anthony William, the medical medium. The physical layer of health and healing, that part of my practice is really rooted and grounded in some of his textbooks. Bringing in emotional healing and psychology, some of my other expertise and backgrounds, understanding what's going on at the root cause level. Because as an epidemiologist and medical intuitive, I can give you unique insight into what's really going on with your health, not just at that very physical layer, but what else is going on energetically, spiritually, emotionally, socially, environmentally. I am sending you all so much healing and supportive energy today. Know and always remember, most importantly, that no practitioner in the world, including me, has the power to heal you other than you. But it's just up to giving you the right support, the tools, the knowledge, and the resources that you need so you can empower yourself to walk this healing journey and guide yourself to heal. And I will always be here to do exactly that for you all. Sending you all so much love, so much confidence, so much healing energy today, here for all of your questions. If you'd like to understand more deeply how I can support you on your own individual healing journey, then just reach out, send me a DM. But I'm sending you all off with so much love, healing, and supportive energy today. I hope that you can feel it, because it is there for you if you receive, and it will serve you well on your journey in some way, shape, or form today. And I will talk with you all soon. If there are other health topics, conditions, or issues that you would like support around, like me to do a live about, do a mini training about, give tips and tricks, talk about, drop a comment here, and I will absolutely plan to do that for you. Sending you all so much love today.